Hello everyone and welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So today we're going to take a look at making a servo skull. I think it's called a servo skull. A chaos skull, mechanic skull thing. I think it's a servo skull. So I got a bunch of these tubes and lids and stuff from work. Just a bit of extra cardboard tube pipes that they're getting rid of and stuff. And instead of throwing all this in the bin, I just collected it together, and with that and some XPS foam and other bits and bobs, we're going to see can we make ourselves our own little unique servo skull. So as you can see here, we're just adding a few bits and we're going to have a look how this comes out. So here you see we're just putting the bits that we have towards the eye socket basically, shall I say, that we're going to get rid of. And then we're going to get our Dremel out and change it for a saw head. Please be careful when using a Dremel or any type of cutting device like this. Always wear eye protection or PPE or anything like that, just to keep yourself as safe as possible. And don't do what I do, or be extra safe. I use these tools because I'm comfortable with using them the way I use them. So don't necessarily do things the way I do. Use the proper equipment, PPE, safety equipment, and so on and so forth. But enough rambling, and let's get to this making the servo skull. So here I'm just naturally cutting with the saw blade down along the nose and then into the eye socket. So we're going to try and remove partial or part of this nose here, and then we're going to remove the whole eye socket or majority of the eye socket in order to get a flat base to work off of. So just making sure that you're careful not to cut too much off, but also making sure that you've actually gone deep enough to make somewhat of a step forward in this whole removing of this material. So I just basically held up a nail file there, got a rough width of the eye socket with my thumb, and then transferred that dimension onto the XPS foam. Apologies for the shaky camera there. It's like an earthquake just hit or something. And then continuing to transfer the dimensions onto the XPS foam, and then cutting the size that we want. And then we're going to end up getting some texture rollers. And by texturizing this XPS foam now, saves us from doing any texture later down the line. If maybe the project covers the whole XPS foam, we really don't mind wasting a few seconds just to texture it now, in case later down the line there is some exposed XPS foam, because then it would be much harder to texture. So doing it now, a few seconds out of our time, is really worth the whole process. And after adding some texture to the XPS foam, we're just roughly measuring out with our hobby knife there the angle of the nose, so we can get this XPS foam as deep into the socket or the little recess that we have there as possible. And as you see, we just cut another sliver off there and then add a little bit more texture just in case it's exposed. So a lot of these ideas, like I said in other previous videos, I still can't speak, everyone, but like I've said in previous videos, a lot of these ideas just come to me while I'm actually doing the project itself. So I thought about what would make some mechanical or break up the texture with this flat XPS foam, and I just seen the sprue lying on the side there. So as you see, I just got the sprue, cut it into a rough shape so we can stick it onto the XPS foam. And I would like the way the sprue overhangs the bit we've cut out next to the nose, so it kind of makes the nose bit that's cut off look like it's a mechanical mesh or something like that covering it. Yeah, I just like the way it all comes together in the end. So using some hot glue then just to attach the sprue onto the XPS foam, and then getting a little wipe lid here, and we're just using that as the bigger portion of the eye. and then we're going to attach that onto the XPS foam and the sprue that we've just attached there. Remember, nothing wrong with more glue, everybody, more glue. So naturally just taking the bottle caps and sticking bits here and there, we can see that some of these cardboard tubes and the bottle cap lids and stuff naturally fit into each other. So it all actually worked out pretty well, to be honest. Pretty speedy process in the end. Didn't take too long. So you can see here we're just squeezing lids inside the tubes and then putting the tube into a lid and just creating these circles. And this all of it put together creates this look of a mechanical kind of eye or a goggle of some sort or a laser type of thing. It gives that whole mechanical skull look that we're going for. So making sure we're saving all these parts here and there. You can see this other bottle cap lid. I just thought would look good on the other underside of this little cardboard tube. So we just hot glue that there after using our hobby knife to take off some excess bits. And then we're finding natural places that this will sit in. So there's a little divot in that big blue circle bit lid we have there. So we're just going to stick that naturally fitting in that bit and then fill up the divot with some hot glue, holding that securely to the big blue circle. More glue again. I think we went through about 10 sticks during this whole process or something. So using some popsicle sticks, lollipop sticks and different bits just to smooth out the hot glue itself. And then I noticed that the little circular cardboard tube we just put on there and more bits we're going to add on wouldn't really be as stable just sitting there by themselves. So later you see that we use more little bits of popsicle sticks just to secure them together, but also giving an illusion of more depth and reinforcement of the whole eyepiece in general. So making sure that we file down any overhang from the tube that we just cut there, just to give it a bit more of a nice aesthetic look. And as you see in there, just safety first when cutting stuff. Always make sure that you use proper PPE, guys, because at the end of the day, you only have two eyes, and one of my eyes is a bit buggedy as it is. So last thing you want to do is hurt your good eye. If you have two good eyes, keep them both safe. If you have one good eye, one bad eye, well, keep your eyes even safer. So like I said previously, just getting some leftover bits of popsicle stick and using them to just reinforce the whole the tubes and just make everything more solid, more as one. So just putting some hot glue down and using them popsicle sticks as more reinforcement. So it was around this stage where I started to get more ideas about where I was going with this whole idea, where I wanted to what I wanted to do next, and where I wanted to place certain things. So you can see I tend to dry fit a lot sometimes, whether you see it on camera, but I do it a lot off camera, on and off when I'm pausing the video to start a new bit or whatnot. Dry fitting is a major part of doing quick projects, because at the end of the day you can, in excitement, stick something or do something and then later come to find out that you didn't want it there, or you wanted something else there instead. So this is another good thing. I ended up getting some of this wood here. For the life of me, I can't remember what the wood is called, but it's basically the wood that everyone uses for hobbying or hobby making. But this is from a Breeze cheese wheel. So I got this again off some people in work, and we're using this instead of them throwing it out. I'm going to use this as some modeling material, basically, just for crafting and reusing stuff. There's no point. It's all going to go in the bin. And instead of me spending money on this wooden material that, like I said, can't for the life of me remember it. I just remembered it today and now it's just gone. Mine's drawn a blank. But instead of buying this material from a hobby shop, we could just reuse it. We can strip all the little nails or all the staples that were holding the wheel together, and then we just take them out, and there you go. You have the material itself, and it does the same job as if it was brand new material. As long as it's not damaged or there's no type of coating, paint or anything on it that's going to affect your gluing. Thankfully we're using hot glue here, so it doesn't really affect it too much. But yeah, this does the job, and like I said, reusing materials in my eyes is much better. Like repurposing stuff is much better than buying outright. Now there is some cases where buying outright is necessary and is much better to do than repurposing. But if you when you can, and if you can, I always think repurposing materials is a much more costly and sometimes more effective way to go about things. So as you see, we are just getting a hobbycraft knife, scoring the wood here and just filling in any gaps just to make it look more natural. And as you can see, we'll just show you what we were doing there. We're just filling in gaps and making it look like this is a piece that's mounted onto the eye. So like I said previously, while I was making this, I just started coming up with ideas. So I thought about sticking, like, because this is mechanical and it's based off of my faction, the Mutant Bears of Fate, which is like a Slaneshi, Nurgle, demon-esque, steampunky kind of robotic kind of army. It's based off the word bears and stuff. Just read my lore on my Instagram to find out more. I don't want to keep on waffling about it. But basically because of that, I wanted to attach some type of how can I say, like exhaust pipes or just something sticking out, steampunky looking out of the head. So here we got a little piece of packing material for like a corner of a table or a piece of wood for this desk I'm on probably. And then we drill some holes in that and using some little LED lights, making sure that we can access the on and off switch. We're threading them LEDs through there, and as you've seen in the clip just a second ago, we're using these two giant airbrush paint containers, like they're attachments. They look like you're gonna spray like a car or something with the air gun. So these things right here, we're gonna basically thread the wire straight through the hole, and we're gonna use these as the exhaust pipes or the steampunky thing we're going for, lights or whatever they're going to turn out to look like. And then while doing all of that, we get some guitar string wire, because we love guitar string wire. And then we get some of that and wrap it around a paintbrush, and that gives us this kind of swirled look. And then getting our random bits box kind of with scrap material, we're gluing some excess bits of plasticard from just bits of projects that, I just didn't want to throw these bits out, because right here you can see I'm using these bits that anyone or I would have just naturally have thrown out, but we can stick all these bits together, building layers and layers, and that gives more definition and character towards this whole mechanical eyepiece. Because although mechanics can be quite flat and rigid and just a flat surface, we're going for the chaosy, more steampunk kind of sci-fi look. So having all these gears, wires, flat surfaces, non-flat surfaces, all these things added to it just gives it, like I said, more character, more definition and more uniqueness to the whole outcome of the project. Also, I'd just like to say a big thank you for everyone for sticking tuned. We still can't say that. Staying tuned for this long. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. About 70% or more are not subscribed to the channel. I briefly go and look at the YouTube algorithm-y kind of stuff, but for the life of me I can't work it out. So please just do a guy a favor and leave a like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you're new to the channel and let me know anything that I could maybe change. I have been doing a new camera setup here, and I do have a mic that I still have to hook up and use. So the quality will continue to get better. But if there's anything projects wise or anything just got to do with constructive criticism that you have for me for the channel, please do write it in the comments. I'd be much appreciated. So in the background here, you can see we're adding little more little like electrical bits from kits that we had. So that's like it looks like a little I don't know, starter motor or something like that. And then we have more little wires and stuff for adding on the underneath side just to give it more character. Some gears that we got off of Temu, if anyone's wondering. We have a bit there that's from a Gundam kit, and then some casts of some Chaos logos, some Chaos God symbols that we're just going to stick on the side of this flat piece of wood panel, along with some more guitar string wire wrapped up. We're just going to stick all these together, giving this more character, and like I said, it breaks up the flat surfaces and gives it that look that we're going for in the end. So you can see here we have some steel like rings. So these are simply just like metal steel links that you'd get from like for jewelry or something like that. I think I got these off Temu once again. They're just £1 for a bunch of these little things. I got it together with some chain, jeweler's chain, so it's 2-in-1 kind of buy in a way. So here I'm just using a little kebab stick or a barbecue stick to help me prod these circles into the certain directions, and then super gluing them onto the plastic card or the blue circle itself, just to give that whole piece, that outer circle, the bigger circle, like more definition, as you can see here. So this is after we've primed it. So we basically got some clean film or cellophane wrap or whatever you may call it. You can get a plastic bag, and we just covered their skull. There's one piece of black that we have at the back of it, but we'll sort that out. And then we're attaching some more bits. We've threaded some of our LED lights through the tube there, and we have it hidden in between see where the red lid is, and then there's right beside the blue, you could kind of briefly see the little LED thing there. And here you can see the little kind of exhaust pipes or vent stacks or whatever you want to call it that we had. They were originally airbrush kind of paint holders. So we just drilled some holes with our Dremel into that and then threaded the LED lights in, and then we screw them onto the holes of the shipping package corner thing there. And underneath that we have the white LED holder, and we just shoved these LEDs in here. Like I said, this all just came to me, guys. I just saw this, saw the skull out and about. I was like, I'm buying that. I wanted to do a servo skull type thingy, and I just had the picture up on my phone, and that's how I got reference. I just looked at it, looked at the skull, looked at objects I had, looked at the skull, and kept on looking backwards and forwards until an idea came to me, and eventually it did. So we just go with the flow basically on this channel, as you know, whether it be editing the videos or doing projects itself. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we glue our fingers together, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we can speak English, sometimes we can't. You know, that's the way it is in this channel, and yeah. Gluing our fingers together. Sometimes we do. So I just sanded this piece of metal circular thing here, and then I stuck another bottle cap in there. As we've seen, we just hot glued that, and we're keeping this as like the lid for the top of this exhaust stack thing or whatever, purely because I couldn't find the actual lid for it itself. But I think it looked quite good in the end. Looking back, I might have probably drilled some holes. I still might drill some holes with the Dremel in this little outer rim, just to give it a more aesthetically looking kind of look. And then the way we've kept all this kind of compact, or the, as you see the little white battery pack there, we've kept it in a square form. The gap we've cut in the head, or the skull shall I say, we should be able to then just slide that in and glue it straight in, as you see here. And then because we have thought about leaving the on off switch exposed by drilling a hole so we can keep turning it on and off, we don't have to worry about switching this on or off or leaving it on or anything like that. We just switch it on, we want it on, switch it off, we want it off. The bad thing is replacing that actual battery in this is going to be quite difficult because we've glued it in now. But I'm only going to leave the lights on for certain reasons or for a short period of time. It's not going to be left on altogether. I have been given a little idea from someone on Facebook about turning something like this into a mask for Halloween, basically. And this is an idea I've had, and now I am just drawn to do more. So put your comments down below if you'd like to see that, and maybe we'll show you how to make a servo skull mask for Halloween. So you can see them little green kind of fluorescent bits there. I don't really have a good camera angle, apologies about this. But they basically came off of sprues from a Necron kit. And I just cut them and then stuck them in certain places in order to give this fluorescent look. And then along with sticking some of these, I should have give you a closer. These are basically just little green gems or crystals. And then I put some UV resin in there. And at the back you can see some red crystals. And I just UV resin these in, giving this outer kind of shiny crystal look. And then as you can see when we turn these lights on, this is the finished outcome so far. I've actually really impressed of how this turned out. I'm happy with what we've done so far. And please leave a comment below on whether you'd like to see this turned into a mask.